Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we have the March 2026 TBR video. This is going to be all the books I will be reading in the month of March. I'm going to be a little bit quick here because my Kindle is dying and it has my script on it. There is a carryover book. I didn't finish up the last book of my fat book February, so I'm going to be starting by finishing that off. We have here The Salt Weed Factor by John Barth. This is from 1960. This book is very difficult. It's very long and difficult. It's satire layered upon satire in every aspect you could possibly imagine. And one of those aspects is the build-up and the structure of the novel itself. I've heard people say that this is an example of postmodernism. I'm not the expert, and I don't really know all too much about that. There was about a 275-page break-in period for me before I actually started to really enjoy it. The further we get into it, the more I'm finding myself enjoying it. Once I kind of gave up to it and gave into it and just realized that I'm going to miss things. I'm not going to understand certain things. Things are going to happen that I'm just kind of letting a lot of it wash over me and just enjoying the ride. And it's really turning out to be good. It's very old school, but it's such a triumph in what it was trying to do. This book took like 4 or 5 years to write, if I'm not mistaken. And I get it, and I see it. It is a monumental task to read, and I could only imagine the monumental task this was to write. Favorite book ever? I don't know. Maybe. I really don't know. It's so crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But all that to be said, I have 300 pages left in that book. I've slowed down, as you can tell. I'm 3 weeks into reading this now. I'm reading maybe 2-3 chapters, 1 to 3 chapters a day in this, and we're going to see where it goes from there. On top of that, I am going to be tackling the next book in the Live Ship Traders, Book 2, Mad Ship, by Robin Hobb. Live Ship Traders Book 2. This is from 1999. I'm going to read synopses, back of the books type stuff on these. A lot of these are like later in series. I'll read as much as I can before it gets spoilery-y. As the ancient tradition of Bingtown's old traders slowly erodes under the cold new order of a corrupt ruler, the Vestrits anxiously await the return of their live ship. A rare magic ship carved from sentient wizard wood, which bond the ships mystically with those who sail them. And Althea Vestrit waits even more avidly, living only to reclaim the ship as her lost inheritance and captain her on the high seas. That's a bit more of that fits a lot of the first book. This next bit here, which actually talks about what goes in here, that's spoilery stuff. We'll not get into that. I really, really, really loved the Farseer trilogy. I really loved the first book of the Live Ships, which was Ship of Magic. I'm on the fence of whether I like it a whole lot more quite yet compared to the first full trilogy. I'll be able to tell after this, I'm sure. Next thing, I'm going to be reading 2 books. This is the 3rd of the 4th omnibus for Black Company books by Glenn Cook. This is The Return of the Black Company. This holds book 6 and 7 of the Black Company. Book 6, Bleak Seasons, The Chronicles of the Black Company, book 6, 1996. Black Company is grimdark fantasy from the 80s into the 90s. He recently came back. He started writing them again, which is super cool. There's another 2 or 3 of them that are set to come out. With the Black Company, everything is first-person narrative. And for each one of these books, these omnibus books, you have different narrators. People come and go. It's all about mercenary bands like a mercenary band called the Black Company, who go and a lot of them die. So the narrator switches over now into this one. We are getting into a man named Mergen who is in the Black Company. And we're going to get to see his narrative style. I've seen 3 so far, so this will be the 4th, and I'm very interested to see it. The 2 books in this omnibus are the 2 books that I know of that are from that perspective. Also, in addition, I am reading Berserk. Pretend this is book 3. I'm holding up book 2, but pretend it's book 3. These are the omnibus editions. They have 3 volumes of manga in each. I am still reading number 2. I will be finishing it up right after I finish editing this video. And then I'll be starting on number 3 sometime soon after that. It's very grim. It's very dark. Once again, imagine that. This is by Kentaro Miura. And these volumes were released 1994 to 1995. The 100-Year War between the kingdoms of Midland and Tudor nears an end as the legendary band of the Hawk mercenaries, led by the charismatic Griffith and his fearless berserker champion Guts, turned the tide in Midland's favor. But impending victory ignites a secret war within Midland, as those seeking courtly favor see the ambitious Griffith as an obstacle to power, and nothing is more powerful than an enemy unseen. Collects Berserk volumes 7 through 9. The art in this is absolutely glorious. It's sparse on dialogue a lot of the time, which is something that I'm finding is my liking in manga. I'm moving back to manga from American comics in a lot of ways because the amount of dialogue and the text is so often overwhelming in American comics. Things like Berserk, things like Blood on the Tracks, that are very art forward. A lot of Junji Ito, very, very forward with the art. I'm loving it. The group of mercenaries in here, the camaraderie, the friendships, the love, the characters, I'm really loving it so far. And I've only read 5 of the volumes so far. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I can see why it's not everyone's, but I can see why it's so many people's favorite manga and one of their favorite stories in general. And the very last thing that I have on my TBR for this month is a little tiny book by Dino Buzzati, The Singularity from 1960. This may look it, this may not look it. This is science fiction. This is from Italy. Dino Buzzati, my favorite, absolutely favorite. Go watch my favorite videos from 2025 video if you want to see me gush about him for about 20 minutes. At the beginning of Dino Buzzati's The Singularity, Ermanno Ismani, an unassuming university professor, is summoned by the Minister of Defense to accept a 2-year top-secret mission at the mysterious research center, isolated from the world among forests, plunging cliffs, and high mountains. What's he supposed to do there? Not clear. How long will he be there? No saying. Still, Ismani takes the mystifying job and, accompanied by his no-nonsense wife, Elisa, heads to the so-called experimental camp of Military Zone 36, wondering whether, in the midst of the Cold War, it's some sort of nuclear project he's been assigned to. But no, the colleagues the couple meets on arrival assure them it's nothing like that. It's much, much more powerful. At the center of the research complex is a strange, shining, at times murmurous white wall. Behind it, a deep gorge drops away, full of wires and radio towers and mobile sensors, and a host of eccentric structures. A question begins to dawn. Could this be the shape of consciousness itself? And if so, whose? This, from what I hear, is a really good early example of artificial intelligence. I don't know a whole lot more than that, but it sounds fascinating. And I don't hear too many people talking about much of Dino Buzzati to begin with. I try to speak on it as much as I possibly can here. The Tartar Steppe, also known in its NYRB translation as The Stronghold, was my favorite book of the entire year. Last year, it came out in 1941, I believe. I've read 25 or so of his short stories at this point. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. He hits a lot of the same themes over and over again. Longing, waiting, existential dread in a lot of ways. Just completely bureaucratic absurdity in a lot of ways. It's beautiful stuff, all of it. And that is what I'm going to be reading in the month of March. Let me know what you guys are reading down in the comments. Cheers.